And RA forgot that I had said that he was welcome to take credit by announcing that you're all invited among the companies I have. We have a couple of 600 passenger ships in the passenger vessel market in New York, and you are all invited to a fireworks cruise for companies who are looking to network and meet some of you and who care about social responsibility. So Ari's got some great tickets to give you. Everybody hears me with the feedback? You're all good? Okay, good. So thank you all for having me here, and congratulations to the award winners. You know, some of you might know me as a local business person in the areas of technology and ships and other fun things. And some of you know me for my speaking on corporate social responsibility and the environment. These are themes that I've spoken about for 20 years when I was a student in the Cuny system. First at the Urban Legal Studies program, and then at Cuny Law School, right near here. And today it's a special pleasure to come to see you at a very different time, a different economic climate, and you're graduating under different economic conditions and very different demographics. And I would argue, and some would say, that you're graduating into an era of unprecedented social responsibility, accountability, and transparency. And those are themes that I think folks studying economics can think about. They are the buzzwords of the day in this new economic era, and you are a new generation. So a few words on demographics, not economics, but demographics regarding generations. For 50 years, nobody really argues about the premise that the baby boomers, folks born from 1944 to 1964, were the most important generation because of their sheer size. When I say important, important for their effect on the sustainability, a new word, or the success of businesses or enterprises or social agendas. Whether you were Starbucks or the Beatles, if you wanted to succeed, you had to speak to the tastes and sensibilities of the baby boomers, people born between 44 and 64. Now why? Because they were smart? No. Because there were so many of them. There were actually 78.5 million people born between 44 and 64. After them came a generation called Generation X, from born 65 to 85. And they were much smaller, about 56 million. And so they were called lazy and all kinds of other bad words. But in fact, there were just less of them to choose Starbucks or the Beatles or music. And what's particularly interesting in my view is that you're part of a new generation. And I call that generation Generation Y. If you count Generation Y, or the millennials, as a 20-year generation, persons born 85 for 20 years, if you only count 20 years, they're the same size as the boomers, 78 million. But if you count them, as many demographers believe, if you count them as the first 25-year generation in over 100 years, they're 100 million strong, and you folks are part of them. So Generation Y is 100 million strong. That makes the baby boomers look small, and you have to learn to communicate to them and speak to their values, which I would argue are some of your values. In national polls conducted on high school seniors and college students, they were asked, what are your top 3 priorities? Only a year ago. And it wasn't the war in Iraq, it wasn't getting a job, it wasn't even the economy. Those typically polled 20% or 30% and less, respectively. The only single thing that got high results across the nation and across broad socioeconomic backgrounds in these polls were the environment, the air I breathe, typically 84% and higher. That means 84% of Generation Yers said, I care about the environment as one of my top 3 priorities. And they took ownership of their answer. They downloaded their answer on their MySpace ads. They communicated in different ways. Now, our new president probably read some poems. He's a pretty smart guy. But our new president understood Generation Y values. He understood your values, and he understood the way you folks communicate. People asked, where's Obama at in the polls when he campaigned? He spoke to you on your cell phones. He learned the way you communicate, and he learned your value propositions. I don't think President Obama brought change so much as he inspired and was inspired by this generation. He communicated with you the way you communicate, and he remains responsible to your future. And when we speak about your future, I think you have to think about these themes. The environment, making environmentally appropriate practices attainable, measurable, and sustainable. We had a great summit on that for the Queens business community hosted at this school. And thinking about corporations being socially responsible and accountable. Yesterday, the First Lady of the United States delivered a presentation to staff members at the United Nations. And she announced that the Obama administration planned to create a $50 million social innovation fund to inspire and help finance promising not-for-profits or NGOs. That's my subject, and I would argue it's your subject. You're studying economics, you have values, and you care about helping the world around you. And I think that that's what's going on in this new era of social responsibility, and that's what needs to be on your minds. Let's talk for a moment about what I mean by a new era. Old economy versus new economy. I'm not going to speak from the perspective of your very capable professors, but I'll speak from a perspective of a businessman. And I own quite a few little companies for the last 25 years. In the old economy, you'd meet with a venture capitalist, a VC fund, and they would say, how much money do you need? Give us a business plan. And the VCs, and few argue with this premise, they had a model. You can ask your professors about this model, what it really means. They would give essentially money to 20 companies with the full expectation, it's part of the plan, that 18 would fail. What do you mean fail? What are you worried about? We gave you money. Don't ask a question like that. What do you mean fail? 2 of you might succeed. And they define success as an exit. So the entrepreneur builds a company, says, what do you mean an exit? What about my employees? What about my commitment to the world? What about my values, my mission statement, my game plan for 10 years from now? And they would say, are you stupid? You got money. If you get a success, if you're one of the 2, you get even more money. You're going to exit. Well, exits are out, folks, and sustainability is in. So now, in the new economy built on hope and promise and accountability and transparency and corporate social responsibility, your business plan and some of the economic factors that go into it have to talk about sustaining, aggregating your resources, saving your energy, capitalizing on tools and infrastructure that can be responsible to the environment, raising money for that, and your long-term plans. The world of exit money, it's gone.